Misclassifying workers in Wisconsin can cost businesses thousands in penalties, back taxes, and legal fees. Understanding the strict requirements for independent contractor agreements isn't just good business practice. It's essential for legal compliance. A Wisconsin independent contractor agreement is a contract between a business operating in Wisconsin and a worker who is not classified as an employee. This distinction matters significantly for both parties, affecting everything from tax obligations to workplace protections. Many businesses prefer hiring independent contractors to avoid costs like unemployment insurance, workers' compensation premiums, and payroll taxes. However, worker classification isn't a choice. It's determined by specific legal criteria that must be followed carefully. Proper classification is critical because it determines a worker's eligibility for benefits, overtime wages, and various legal protections. Even if a worker signs an agreement labeling them as an independent contractor, this document alone doesn't override misclassification if the actual working relationship resembles employment. The consequences of misclassification in Wisconsin are severe. Employers may face liability for unpaid employment taxes, retroactive overtime payments, penalties from the Department of Workforce Development, workers' compensation back pay, and even loss of business licenses in regulated industries. Wisconsin uses a particularly strict 9-point test for worker classification under workers' compensation laws. To be considered an independent contractor, a worker must meet all 9 conditions. Failing even one means they're legally an employee. These 9 requirements include operating a separate business, having a federal employer identification number or filing a business tax return, working under a specific contract, being responsible for operating expenses, being accountable for work performance, being paid based on contract, job, or commission rather than time, being subject to profit or loss, having recurring business obligations, and succeeding or failing based on whether business expenses exceed income. The Wisconsin Supreme Court has clearly ruled that failing to meet any single one of these 9 requirements automatically classifies the worker as an employee, not an independent contractor. A well-drafted independent contractor agreement should include several key elements. These include a detailed scope of work, clear payment terms, contract duration and termination conditions, statements about tax responsibility, provisions regarding equipment and expenses, confidentiality clauses, and liability insurance requirements. While templates exist online, agreements should be customized to comply specifically with Wisconsin law and the particular services being provided. Independent contractors generally have more freedom in how they complete their work compared to employees. However, they don't receive employer-provided benefits like health insurance, and they're responsible for their own taxes. Contractors may also lack certain legal protections that employees enjoy, such as workplace discrimination protections and minimum wage guarantees. These agreements are particularly important when hiring freelancers, consultants, tradespeople, subcontractors, software developers, or licensed professionals for specific projects. They're especially valuable for short-term, task-specific work arrangements. Real estate professionals in Wisconsin face unique considerations. While many brokerages engage agents as independent contractors, these relationships face particular scrutiny. Key factors authorities consider include whether the brokerage controls the agent's schedule or methods, whether the agent works exclusively for one broker, and whether licensing requirements support true independence. To stay compliant in Wisconsin, remember that worker classification depends on actual working conditions, not just contract language. A written agreement is highly recommended but not legally sufficient on its own. The 9-point test is strictly applied, and courts will examine the real nature of the working relationship, regardless of what any document states. Proper documentation protects both parties and ensures compliance with Wisconsin labor laws. By understanding these requirements and implementing them correctly, businesses can maintain appropriate independent contractor relationships while avoiding costly legal complications.